I have really appreciated the recent evolution of animation, since Into the Spider-Verse, and then we got Puss in Boots 2, and then Across the Spider-Verse with even more standout animation, and now this really good movie. Hey everyone, my name is Max Aaron James. This is a review of the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, written by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, Jeff Rowe, directed by Jeff Rowe and Kyler Spears. This movie is only about an hour and a half, and I think that is just enough to get what you want from a movie like this. And still, I would have been fine with about 10 or 15 more minutes of this movie. And I think that is a really good sign when people want a little bit more opposed to people thinking maybe you could cut off 10 to 15 minutes. This movie is about, your favorite Ninja Turtles trying to stop these mutants or this group of mutants from destroying the world and taking out humans, while also trying to find their place in the world, being turtles and just wanting to live regular teenage lives, which we know is not necessarily possible considering, they do give us the courtesy of jumping through or just quickly going through the origin of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles instead of trying too hard to make it seem cool or really very much a part of the story that we are being told, and they just jump right into where we are. I think most people have an understanding of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in some capacity, or know that they exist at least, and maybe they're curious as to who would have thought of something like this. But I think it's pretty creative, and I would like to see more stuff like this, at least in the mainstream, because I know a lot of it exists. There are cool fight scenes, funny quips, just funny jokes throughout, good references, or at least a good amount of good references to stuff. And there's a lot of suspense. I think they did really good at building it. There was a lot of tension. I felt like our protagonists were really in danger, and that is something I really appreciate in movies, even when I know it is likely that none of our protagonists are really going to get harmed. And that is a sign of good storytelling. When you are aware that because of the IP, because of the brand, because of knowing that there may be future stories planned for these characters, and because these are pretty much the only characters in this universe or world that are the main protagonist, that nothing will come to them, but you feel the tension and suspense that something could have happened in this moment. And I really felt that in the final battle. We have Micah Abbey, Shimon Brown Jr., Nicholas Cantu, and Brady Noon as our protagonists. They did really good. I love their performances, the voice acting. I think they brought that youthfulness to these characters, to where I felt they were teenagers, to where I felt they were just having fun. And they're in this journey of learning, of growing up, and just becoming themselves and becoming their individual selves, while also in that age where they're still trying to fit in with one another and still, they're a group, they're a family. And I really appreciated that. I appreciated who they casted. And I think I would love to see them in a sequel. I would love to see a sequel of this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have not really been into or kept up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, at least in over a decade. And I've only seen the movies. I've seen them do cameos in like Power Rangers in the past. If you know, you know. I may have seen a couple cartoons of theirs, but when I was very young, so I never kept up with the lore as deeply as others may have. So I'm going off of what I have seen, and I would say this is probably in the top 3 best interpretations of their story. I really enjoyed it. I did not like the previous, most recent TMNT movies that were just a bit too much, clearly trying to follow up in the style of Transformers and G.I. Joe, and it just fell flat. This, I felt it had its own style, it had its own unique story, and it recognized that it brought out mutants that I had not heard before, right? You have Bebop and Rocksteady, but I think those are one of the most popular antagonists slash partners to the TMNT. To bring up these other characters that I am going to assume are part of the lore and the original content. So it was cool. I really liked Ice Cube as the antagonist. I mean, he often voices the antagonist in a lot of animated shows, or he's playing the a-hole boss or father in a non-animated or live action film. He just has that charisma, that attitude. I mean, aside from his personal political decisions, let's just stick to this movie. I felt the stakes. At no point did I feel the movie was dragging. I felt it was jumping from point A to point B to point C fairly quickly without feeling rushed. And again, I would love to see a sequel. This is a movie I definitely recommend watching. Watching in theaters, I mean, that's up to you. Are you willing to pay the price for a ticket? Maybe not. But it is fun to watch. I'd say it's also a really good family movie. There are a lot of jokes and references that adults will understand. And it's fun, colorful, and has a good theme and message for kids. Anyway, what did you think of the movie? What do you think of this review? Please let me know in the comments below. Until next time, y'all take care of each other. Be sure to check up on one another. Be sure to check up on yourself. And remember, potential has no limit.